Our first topic, is the gender war real? Or is it just another social media fueled illusion that's keeping men and women at odds instead of working together? If we're constantly battling each other, how can we ever build anything meaningful, especially when it comes to a family and legacy? Let's dive in. So that first topic, that's a strong one, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about it? The gender war. Dun, dun, dun.
If I'm being honest, I've been hearing about it for God knows how long, and for a while, I've been telling myself that I don't see a gender war, so it doesn't exist. But just based on my newfound desire just to have a little bit more empathy and be a little bit more understanding, I decided to be a little bit more open-minded to other people's perspective of what's going on and what's happening in the world. And so that's why I decided that, this is probably a topic that we can just discuss openly. And what initially drew me to bringing it up this week was when I was doing my research, I did come across some interesting articles, and this first one here.
Okay.
This one broke it down from a big picture perspective, talking about more so from a countrywide condition of it being viewed as authoritarianism in regards to the policy. So because again, when I'm hearing about it in the digital streets, it's more so like the gender war is about just men and women in regards to their obsession with sex at the end of the day.
Yeah.
However, this position was more so coming from, again, a policy position, and I was like, okay, I understand that. I can get jiggy with that, as they would say. Mm-hmm. And so again, one of the things that stuck out to me, it said, if the overall aim of U.S. national strategy is to shore up democracy and democratic freedoms, the treatment of women and girls cannot be ignored. Mm-hmm. And that always piques my interest, because going back to the whole idea of us having some level of a national and family unity, why are we always trying to create lines of division through gender or sex or identity?
I think it goes back to that overall premise of divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that this whole gender war thing is something that was premeditated through the effects of the whole Jim Crow and segregation and all that, because I feel as though we're having this gender war because women feel that they have been holding it down. Mm-hmm. And you got to give them their credit. They have been holding it down. And we have had a lot of single parent households, raised by single mothers. So that meant the single mother, she had to work, she had to pay bills, she had to provide the home, provide the clothes and everything. And they did big ups to all the single woman out there that's doing their thing. I was raised by a single female, and shout out to my mom. But at the end of the day, it also created a mentality, and it created an entitlement that they don't necessarily realize that is all part of the game.
Yeah,
it was all part of the game to work against us. So now, if our women are the breadwinners and our women are holding it down and being the more responsible one, what do they need from a man? And if they don't need nothing from a man, what kind of respect will they give a man? Mm-hmm. And it's all about respect, when we're dealing with each other. Even if you're in relationships or partnerships or friendships, you have to respect the people that you're in this commitment with. Whether it's a commitment to get money, a commitment to be married, or a commitment to, do anything.
Right.
You got to have respect for the people that you with. So therefore, us being, penalized for, the color of our skin, and us being men, and the women being able to rise faster in corporate America, that kind of, created animosity. Okay. It created a disconnect between the man and the woman. And so now, therefore, that's one element of the gender war. That's, as a result of that.
Mm-hmm. And it's to piggyback on what you said, pick up what you put down. As you said, they've been holding it down. So when I was doing my research, when I was looking at the articles and whatnot, that's pretty much what I was discovering from the context I was observing it through. when I was trying to get a better understanding of what the gender war actually represented, and you kind of alluded to it in regards to this sense of animosity from women, because again, women have felt that they've been thrust into the quote unquote male role of being the breadwinner or the head of household by nature of, you know, single motherhood. And because I'll read it here, it said men's goal seems to be to push women out of the workforce and positions of political power and into more traditional roles of wife and mother, whereas women's goal seems to be to push themselves into the workforce and positions of political power and out of more traditional roles of wife and mother. And that's what I can clearly see as a gender war. Like, to me, I can see that as the gender war, not necessarily this obsession with sex and who he with or who she with, if you say. Right. But on a more bigger picture level, like, that's what I'm seeing. Right. I can acknowledge, accept, and agree that I am seeing that. Where again, you got men still trying to still trying to embrace this patriarchal philosophy of, again, I'm gonna be the man and you be the woman and you be my helpmeet and da da da. Whereas the women are more so like, nah, we've evolved, quote unquote. You know so they think we have evolved, and now we can do the things that you've done in regards to provision, and so that's why we don't need you. But that's where I believe women have it messed up. You know
and they're correct to a certain extent.
What extent? To
the extent that if this life only involved them. But when we're talking about raising families, and having children,
right. You need, right, and that's where I think they don't understand.
Right, exactly. And that's where they get the lines blurred a little bit, in my opinion.
Because if you, not to cut your wisdom out, but to your point, if you're going to live a single life, then you don't need a man. If you're just going to be by yourself and you just need, because if you're going to be by yourself, you're going to need to have some money. Right. So if you believe that you can make money and you don't need, you are correct in that regards. But if your intent is to have a group, be involved with a group, have a family, man, woman, and children, and you do need a man, just like the man needs the woman. And it ain't about want or desire, because again, we have to elevate beyond our low level hedonistic desires for just pleasure in regards to sexual obsession, you know what I mean? Right. So if you can elevate, a sin higher, then you're going to need a man and a man's going to need a woman.
Yes, because that's how it was created. That's the design. Charleston White has said, he referred to something about, that's nature. The man being stronger than the woman or whatever the case may be, that's nature. And we're not here to change nature. We can't change nature.
We can't, right.
Nature is in everything, in the animals.
It's inherent.
It's inherent. It's something that's there. Like if you look at wildlife, the male is dominant than the woman, whatever the case may be. When you look at all different societies and civilizations, the men held it down, whether it was through army, whether it was through providing, hunting,
sheer force and
gathering. The men had to hold it down, and the women had their space and their role as holding it down to, to prepare and to make the things that the men gathered whole. Because if we just got gatherers and we just gathering all these elements, you need somebody to make, like what Luther say, a chair is not a chair and a house is not a home. If you don't have a woman, the woman makes that. Yeah. And I just want to speak to the woman and say that y'all have the most important job on the planet. Yeah. To be a mother and to be a wife. That's what makes the world go round. And and being a wife, that means you're responsible for the nutrition. It ain't just about being in the kitchen and being barefoot,
being somebody's slave,
and being subservient to a man. No, it's as the wife. I remember I heard Farrakhan talking about his wife. He was like, "I love my wife. Without my wife, I wouldn't have all the nutrition in my body. I wouldn't have the energy and things that I need to go on, and my children would be all malnutrition and wouldn't have the education and the love and support that they need to withstand the world. The world is cruel."
So just to kind of piggyback on your point about the woman's role in the kitchen, I was talking to a gentleman who I did invite out on the podcast because he was very proficient in organic foods. Okay. So health. And he made a point. He was like, the woman's job, she's the pharmacist. He was like, when you go to Rite Aid or CVS, he was like, that's a drug store.
Right.
He was just like, but you know, when you growing your crops, your organic foods, that's the farm. He was like, so you know the farm, and then so she's the pharmacist.
Yes.
You know what I'm
The
saying?
pharmacist, right.
And when he said it like that, I was like, damn, like that makes perfect sense, you know.
And
But
it's
again,
essential.
we've lost, we've taken that role. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the programming and the propaganda has, in a sense, made both man and woman kind of lose sight of their true roles in that
Yeah.
regards, and within the family nuclear unit. You know what I mean? So I was just like, yes, because when you said that just now, I was like, yeah, that's what old boy was talking about.
Yeah, they lost the value within themselves. The man has never degraded the woman. You know, we understand. We need you. We want you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we understand that. But you know, through feminist movements and welfare and the government giving you money to make sure you don't have no man in the house and all those things. You know, those things matter and they have consequences and effects on society.
Yes.
And I think now we're just living in the aftermath of all said things that were put in place to kind of make us disarrayed and
lines of dissension and division, as they would say, because again, I understand. I can understand again the perceived threat of loss or risk that a woman experiences because in her mind she's depending on the man. But I believe that's the problem. I was on a podcast, I believe earlier this month or last month, and she actually made a good point toward the end where we kind of got on the same page when it comes to that relationship between man and woman. I started saying we need more collaborators as men and women, as opposed to the man and woman trying to find someone to quote unquote cooperate with their program in the level of in a matter of codependency. Because if as man and woman, if the intent is to depend on somebody for something, I need her to take care of me in the house and the kids, I need him to take care of, like, inevitably that's going to become unsustainable at some point. You know what I mean? And then you're gonna have some tension here. And why it's going to be unsustainable? Because again, it's a codependent relationship.
Okay.
And again, we're human. So at some point in time, one of us is going to want to quote unquote break. We're not going to want to do it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's going to create tension within the relationship because because now the expectation of predictability now. You know what I mean?
So take that point. So what happens when the man needs a break or the woman needs a break?
That's where that's why I was gonna say that's why if we approach it from more so a position of collaboration, where we're not necessarily seeking to depend on each other or cooperate with each other's quote unquote terms, we're more so in alignment in regards to our values and views, so that there is no like you're supposed to be doing this for me. I'm supposed to be doing this for you.
What does that actually look like? So that's
what I'm saying. So
you'll go to work and I'll stay home with the kids?
Whatever works for that group.
But I'm saying, like, is that an example?
I don't know.
Is that like a
that could be an example, because there are some couples where it works for the man to be the quote unquote stay at home parent and the woman to be the breadwinner.
Well, not to stay at home at like permanent roles, but you were saying like at some point you get tired and you need a break. So what I'm asking you is it ideal for maybe
I guess the situational.
The woman will have to.
I don't have any specific situational, but that's my point. When you're in alignment when it comes to your vision for the future and your values with a person, that stuff that doesn't seem to stop you guys from making progress. Because again, there's some level of understanding because y'all is in alignment. But when y'all not in alignment, that's where the tension is coming from. Because again, you believe as quote unquote a man, she's supposed to cut my meat. You know what I'm saying? but she like, you a grown man.
Shout out to Loretta Bobbitt. What was her name? Lorena Bobbitt.
So she cut the meat yeah, she definitely cut my man meat. But she was probably fed up because she was, in his mind, he wanted her to cooperate with his term. Well, you supposed to cook. I'm a man. You're supposed to cut my. You're supposed to. Well, because I'm paying all the bills. So that's what I'm saying. That's from my point of view. That's what seems to be the creation of all this tension in the relationship, and where a lot of people might believe that there is this gender war, because at the end of the day, we have both men and women that aren't quote unquote in alignment when it comes to what they want for the future individually, as well as the values in which they make decisions through. But because again they're quote unquote sexually attracted to each other.
Right.
They believe that they're supposed to be with each other. So now they start making these permanent decisions like having kids, and then their relationship never seems to get any traction because it's always tension due to the fact that both of them is trying to get each other to cooperate with each other's opposite terms.
I believe the tension comes from the both sides not really knowing the
Being
other
empathetic,
side.
exactly.
And more so than not, the women think they're the same. They think men are the same as them. They think men think like them, and men are, living the same experience as them. Mm-hmm. So they try to, compare apples to apples when it comes to men and women. When it's like, that's apples and oranges that you're comparing. You know what I'm saying? There was a video when the guy had broke it down and was going through and talking about the characteristics of the woman and how they, how we as men are and how women and what they go through. And I want y'all to check this video out and tell me what you think.
Women are born on top of the mountain. Men are born in the valleys around it. A man is judged by how high he climbs. A woman is judged by how far she falls. Men have much to gain. Women have much to lose. Masculinity is built. Femininity is preserved. I think sometimes as men, it's easy to begrudge our journey, and sometimes women begrudge their journey. This is just the programming, and I don't pretend to understand why that's above my pay grade, but I do know that this is a reality. We are on different journeys. And there is a role for a man where he has to step up and prove himself, and one thing men learn really, really quickly is, one, we're expendable, and we should be. We are here to preserve our females and our children. That's what men are supposed to do. Not only are we expendable, but the only value that a man has is the value that he provides for somebody else. Whereas women have a completely different framework that they're operating within. They already have intrinsic value, and they are the ones that are going to carry the human race into the future. So as men, it is our job to protect femininity, not to degrade it or to destroy it or to manipulate it, which so many men do, but to be protectors of it, that are going to stand their watch. And when the night is the darkest, that's when you need men out there. When the wolves are howling, you need a man out there that's going to take care of it, that's willing to lay down his life to protect the things that he loves most and to preserve the women in his life and the children in his life. And there's no shame in that. That is the journey that all of us men are on.
Man, he could have said it any better.
It's interesting. I'm listening. He said an important word that most people skipped over. He said programming. Mm-hmm. He said, I don't pretend to understand the programming, but I do accept it for what it is.
Right.
And that's what most people struggle with. Mm-hmm. Most men and women. Mm-hmm. We struggle with accepting that, again, where none of us are the architects of the programming, but the programming just is what it is. Going back to this is the paradigm or the program that we were born into.
Right.
It is just what it is. And so as a man, the more you try to operate outside of what he was just talking about, the more attention you're going to have in your life.
Right.
Same with the woman.
Right.
The more you try to operate outside of that sense of preservation,
right.
The more attention. That's why it's funny to me when I hear, oh, my man cheated on me, and then I went in and cheated back with his friend or
with
something.
His brother and shit.
But it's just like
cousin.
You actually made yourself look worse than him in that regard.
Exactly.
Because again, your programming is that of preservation. So you just muddied up your own. You made a decision that muddied yourself up.
Yeah, muddied your own waters.
You muddied your own waters, and so. When it's all said and done, as he was saying, like we're just we're operating from our own different frames. Going back to last week, everyone has their own universe, but in this regard, male and female universe, it's just two different journeys.
But we
need each other.
But they work cohesively together.
Yes,
they really do. Like the gentleman said in the video, and in the late midnight hour, when the wolves are coming. The men, we got to go out there and protect our women and children. Mm-hmm. That's what moves our civilization forward. The woman, they're the nurture and the cradle of civilization. The womb is very special, mm-hmm. And it should be protected by all means. So, like you said, we're not here. It will be protected. It must be protected, and we're not here to. The woman is not here to be manipulated, to be controlled, or to be, put down or any mm-hmm. regard like that. And so I just like to, say that to the woman out here, like, your average man and your decent man, is not against you. Mm-hmm. Then there are some assholes out here. There's some jerks. There's some people,
wolves, as he said.
There's some people out here with some mental, issues and vice versa. There's some women out here who screwed up in the head. But for the most part, we all understand our role and what it is, and we just want everyone else to understand theirs.
Yep. So to kind of nip it on up, before we kind of nip it on up, there was another young lady. What was her name? Heavenly or Levy? Heavy or Levy?
Yeah, something
Heavy.
like that.
But she actually had a good, interesting perspective on the gender war as well. That I want to
She
cover
did. She
real
really
quick.
did. Let's tap into that.
Look, I'm just gonna say it. Ladies, please stop. And I mean, for the love of God, please stop making videos where you're shitting on men. Like, there's nothing cute about that. There's nothing empowering about degrading an entire gender because of one or two guys that may have hurt you in the past. Like, we literally have an entire system that is trying to control us and instill fear into us. And you are out here creating a gender war. Like, we have bigger fish to fry. And I mean, if you look in my comments, you will see hundreds of comments coming through from men that are just upset and they're hurt. And you're literally doing to them what you accuse them of doing to you. And it just creates this cycle. And it's toxic. And it's not helping anybody. So please do yourself a favor and just stop.
Man.
I mean, it's just that simple. And again, both sides, quote unquote, need to stop.
Oh, yeah.
And grow up, be self-governing, and move forward. You know what I mean? So we can make progress in. Because that's my thing now moving forward is like, what's people's vision for the future? If we are to maintain this quote unquote gender war, like what does the future look like? Because again, if going back to just the bigger picture of, women wanting to be in, the workforce and political power, whereas men wanting women to be, in roles in the home as wife and mother, we pretty much seem to know what men's vision is, but I'm just curious, like women, like what is your vision for the future?
And who is supposed to fulfill that role in the home? That role is still a necessity. Because
again, if their thing is we want to be in the political spectrum and workforce, and okay, cool. But then again, now to your point, well, who's
raising our children?
Yeah, who's raising the kids?
And who's making the house a home?
Yeah, who's doing that?
And who are we leaving that up to? You know what I'm saying? And another thing that, comes across in this gender war, quote unquote, women get upset because a lot of men choose maybe, well, I'm talking about as far as in our ethnicity, us being Americans of African descent, we tend to have this battle like, oh, they'll go outside their race to get another, they get upset. The women get upset when we are with a Caucasian woman or with a Mexican or whatever the case may be. And it's like they get upset, but they really don't realize or understand or look at why the person or the man that's got all this money is deciding to find solace and solitude with this woman of another race.
Yes.
I seen this video on Fresh and Fit, right? Then the woman, let me alert you, y'all. I know this is gonna rub y'all wrong from the onset of it, but just take a deep breath and I want to point out something to you, and I want you to see how these different ethnicities and their view on their men and husbands.
And again, she doesn't speak for all.
No, she doesn't speak for
all of our Einsteinians out there. Oh, he said all. No.
But this gives you an idea of what men are choosing.
Yes.
And a man will choose this any day of the week over someone that's, throwing their accomplishments in their face.
I always think everything is a negotiation.
Their degrees, very argumentative.
Yeah.
Very costuming in their approach and apparel and how they present to the world.
Lascivious.
Very moody.
Yes.
Very opinionated. Like, so get into that. I want y'all to check this out.
My soon-to-be husband, he treats me well, he respects me, I don't have to ask for anything, but at the same time, I also do what I'm supposed to do with a woman. I cook, I clean, I suck, I fuck, I shut the fuck up. So I know how to keep my man.
if a man has been through shit and he hasn't actually like dealt with it, and you want to push it out of him, you gonna see some shit.
No, but I'm not pushing.
Baby, talk to me. What's wrong? Because he's quiet for 3 hours. He don't want to talk to you right now.
Because he was probably taught as a child.
That's not true. It just how they wired. They're not always talkative. They need their space. They don't always want you in their fucking face. And if you are gonna be in their face, why are you nagging about why he's been quiet? Rub that man's feet while he's quiet. Sit on his lap while he plays his game.
But look at
a lot of girls complain about shit that's stupid.
I wake my husband up with a massage and coffee every single morning, and every single night I'm scratching his scalp and like giving him a back massage until he falls asleep. It's important that he falls asleep first. And I would say something that's romantic that he does for me. Well, since I do all of the cooking, it's nice when he takes me out for dinner because it's like a little break and it's just special. And then also even just while we're here in Miami, he's kind of like my little bodyguard, like making sure if there's any men walking by, he just like puts his arm around me and just making sure that I'm protected. That's really romantic, and that's something that a woman could never do for a man.
W. Wow. Fantastic. Wow. Okay. I like it. You are blessed.
I love how they all referred and started by saying my husband.
Yes.
My, like you are entitled. You know, when people when both genders are fulfilling their roles, you do have a sense of entitlement. You are entitled to certain things, and you know you do. There is a possession that one has,
a sense of possession,
sense of possession that the one has in regards to their mate.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying. And they're like my husband, and at the same time he does this. I don't have to ask for nothing. I don't got to worry about nothing. He take care of everything. Boom, boom, boom. And then the other point the girl brought up, you know, sometimes I know I went through this with you know, my last relationship, and I didn't know that about myself. And after going to therapy, I understood that it's okay because sometimes you don't want to be bothered.
Right.
You know, sometimes when you come in the door for 3 hours, you know, you just quiet and you're decompressing everything that came
to relax your mind.
Through.
Yeah.
And then some of us grew up in with not a bunch of brothers and sisters and siblings in a household full of kerflama and noise and talking. Some people are just built different and wired different and just, you know, need their time and their space, and eventually they'll warm up and come around. But she made a good point. Like, so instead of arguing, why are you not saying that? Why that? Why this? Why that? Chill, fall back, give him his time, and shut your mouth and maybe go rub his back. You know what he like. You know, go rub his feet. You know, make sure the right show was on. If he like taking baths, go ahead like that. If you want to get in the tub, the water ready for you. Look like you need a good, look like you're a little stressed, baby. I got you.
Yeah,
give him a little head or something. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, not to be vulgar about it, but I'm just saying it's like she said, if he playing the game, go sit on his lap while he playing the game or whatever the case may be. Sit between his legs or something. You know what I mean? Just lean on him. You know, you could just touch him while you reading a book or something. Just let men do what they need to do, because there's a crazy world out there that we have to thrive in and navigate through.
Yeah,
that's not in our favor.
Yeah,
and you know, so therefore, coming home to peace
and quiet, right,
is essential to survival, and it helps us thrive and keep going and go the extra mile. You know, if I'm already stressed out from arguing with you all night, I get to work or get to whatever it is that's making me money, I can't give 100%. Because you calling me every 10 minutes. You want to know why I ain't called you back or I ain't returning your text? I'm working. You know, I'm out here trying to I'm figuring it out. I'm killing the pig so I can bring home the bacon.
Right, right. And you calling me every 5 minutes, just making the pigs run away.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Every time I get her in my crosshairs, oh, there she go again.
And all those women, they got it they have it down to a science. And I'm sure the men that they're with are high earning men. I guarantee you that. And the girl she said
they don't want for nothing.
They don't want for nothing. She said, I know how to, you know, shut the fuck up. You know, not in a negative connotation or not in a controlling way, but sometimes us as men, we don't like. That's what you have your girlfriends for. You call her up on the phone. You go over there, y'all talk for hours and hours and hours. We just want to just be like chill. Just, you know, that's just how we wired. And once we understand the mechanics of the other side, so that, and then vice versa. Like we got Valentine's Day coming up, right? So as a man, you got to understand your woman. You know, you can't be like, I ain't fuck Valentine's Day. they emotional creatures. They're into their feelings, so they like all that. Everybody else getting flowers and chocolates and da 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 da. Of course, you got to play your part. You got to give your woman what she wants and what she needs. It has nothing to do with you, even though we don't get nothing for Valentine's Day 9 times out of 10 anyway.
Right.
But we don't care. You'll never hear us. You never heard no movement against the men talking about we want our Valentine's Day gifts.
Right.
We understand it. We deal with it and move on and make sure you got whatever you need. You know, reservations, whatever. We going out. You know, we gonna do the whole 9. We going away for the weekend, whatever the case may be, because we understand our role and we understand what's important to you. You know what I'm saying? So.
You know what it all comes down to?
What's that?
It's the dirty little S word. Starts
word.
with an S. Sacrifice.
Oh.
You know, the reason why, like to your point, we don't care about Valentine's Day is, man, I know I do not care. Like 100% do not care.
Right.
However, we say we care about our women and they care about it. And so as men, we understand that we have to make a self-sacrifice in order for us to be able to get what we want from the woman. The women don't seem to understand that.